Lifeline.
The Honest Truth met Benito Vergotine.
Smile 90.4 FM.
Joining us this evening to elaborate on the growth of click and collect services across our country and how that is also democratizing online shopping is co-founder and chief executive officer at Pargo, Lars Veul. Mr. Veul, good evening and thank you so much for your time.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. So how is e-commerce, online shopping impacting delivery in our country at the moment?
Well, I think first of all, e-commerce and online shopping has grown tremendously over the last years, as everybody knows. I think everybody these days, buys online or at least has bought something online. But what we all also probably have faced and have experienced is that, you go online, you buy that order, that parcel that you've been wanting for such a while, and then you get that dreaded SMS that you've been waiting at home for the delivery all day, and you get the SMS that the courier was there, but they missed you. They couldn't find you. They couldn't deliver to you, and then you have to wait another day. And that is one of the biggest challenges we see now if it comes to e-commerce deliveries. And at Pargo, we're trying to solve that and trying to make that experience a little bit better for anybody out there that's buying online.
And from what you share, it seems clear that consumers as well value that kind of efficiency, that efficient and dependable, speedy delivery service, and become frustrated if they receive anything but that.
Exactly. So it's about speed, it's about convenience, but I think for me, the most important is about optionality. It's about the fact that you as an online shopper want to have the option to choose a delivery method and a delivery model that works best for you. And so what we do at Pargo and what we are known for is we've set something up that's called, known for click and collect, which means that we allow people to buy online, but instead of getting it delivered to their home address, it gets delivered to a convenience store very close to their house in their neighborhood. We partner up with thousands. We have over 4,000 stores that we have in our network in South Africa, whereby you can then buy online and get the parcel delivered to one of these stores, and then collect at your own convenience. You have a whole week to collect. So now you don't have to worry about that missed delivery anymore. You can just go and go to work or pick up your kids or go to the supermarket or do whatever you need, and then collect your parcel at your own time, at your own convenience.
I would imagine that one of the advantages of that particular delivery model, click and collect, that you described there, Lars, is that you're able to impact upon people in remote areas as well, particularly those living in townships, for example.
Yes, that's 100% right. So you can imagine that if you live in an urban city, in the city center, that delivery in those areas is typically not that hard. But already, we are facing issues there. So you can imagine if that is a challenge in like the city center of Cape Town, for instance, how hard it must be if you're living in Khayelitsha. So what we've picked up is that, especially in the township areas, especially in small rural towns, delivery can be a real nightmare and a real headache. So our model has really been picked up also in those areas, and we're seeing big increase and huge uptake in these townships and in small towns and townships across the country.
Lars Veul is co-founder and chief executive officer at Pargo, joins us in conversation this evening on The Honest Truth. You're welcome certainly to join us and share your experience around a delivery service. What sort of delivery model do you prefer, and what has been your experience of the services that you have used on 0829 904 904? Lars, in what ways are traditional courier services being challenged by click and collect?
Our model is that we actually work with a lot of the traditional couriers. When we launched the company back in 2015, maybe we need to take a step back. So my background, together with my co-founder Dirk, is in e-commerce. We are both from the Netherlands actually, and we came to Cape Town in 2012. We were sent here by our previous employer, which was a big e-commerce company, and we were asked to help set up e-commerce here in South Africa. And we then faced the big challenges of last mile logistics. And one of the big challenges back then was the courier companies still struggling a lot with these problems. The reality is that these courier companies, the problems that we're seeing, the problems I mentioned earlier, where people live in areas that are very challenging to deliver because there's bad addresses, or because, they work in a big office building where deliveries are not allowed, or they live, in a big estate where there's a security guy that won't let the driver in. So often the root cause for these missed deliveries is not that the courier is doing a bad job. It's because, the way the country is set up and the fact that our country is quite big and that there's a lot of areas where this is very challenging. So from day one, when we started Pargo, we saw the couriers as our partners. We work together with the couriers. We use them and they use us. And together we trying to solve this problem and trying to make last mile logistics, as it's called, more efficient and in terms of cost, more efficient in terms of experience. And by doing that, eventually creating access and really helping e-commerce companies to access more online shoppers out there than they would be able to do if they would just offer home deliveries.
And what has been the feedback from your consumers?
So the uptake has been really, really good over the years. We've seen, more and more people using it. People are starting to get used to this model. People are starting to realize that it is indeed easier and better to, if you're buying something, let's say on a Monday, and the delivery promise from the e-commerce companies that it will be delivered within 2 days, as an example, rather actually get that parcel delivered within 2 days to a store that you can collect from instead of having that missed collection, right? Or that missed delivery. And on top of that, from a cost perspective, it's not always the cost of e-commerce and delivery is not always given to the consumer. So consumers don't always see that. Often it's free delivery, but for the sender, for the e-commerce company, the cost is also significantly lower. So, that combination of having that kind of certainty, that optionality of always having the parcel delivered within your region and having a lower cost means that, the uptake has been great. As I said earlier, we have over 4,000 stores in the country. We process many millions of orders every year. And we are seeing that more and more people are getting used to it and starting to use it. So so far so good and really good uptake.
Very good to hear that there's been such positive feedback from consumers. So happy with the service. But then you also spoke about those 4,000 retail partners that you have that are part of the click and collect model. How does click and collect also in turn benefit them by being your partners?
Yeah, I think that's a great part of our model, that it's really a partnership model, and that those 4,000 stores really are our partners and the people that make this happen. So we partner with these stores. What happens is that we pay a small fee for every parcel that goes to one of these stores. So as a store owner, you're making some additional revenue. But on top of that, when people come and collect, quite a few people that go and collect a parcel will combine that with their daily shopping. You can imagine if you're going to, for instance, the Clicks, which is a partner of ours, or a Spar store or a petrol station, that you combine that with it could be shopping at a supermarket, but it can also just be getting, your gum or your cigarettes or whatever, like anything you need. So it's a nice upsell opportunity for these stores and for these pickup points. And what we're also seeing, especially again in the township communities, in the township areas, that it's often, that store and that person owning the store also has, is known in the community, is somebody that often helps the community. So it's really a way for them to also make that e-commerce experience better for their own community.
Excellent. So Lars, where could our listeners find out more and make use of Pargo?
So, you can find more information on our website, pargo.co.za. But mostly where you'll find us is, on the checkout page of all the e-commerce companies out there. When you're buying something online and you get to the checkout page, you've paid for your parcel, you need to choose your shipping option. Often there you'll see the Pargo logo or click and collect option or pickup point option. And then, you can click on it and then choose your preferred pickup point. It will zoom into the area you live. You can put in an address and you'll see a pickup point very close to where you live or where you work, and choose that and then check out.
Seems straightforward enough. Find out more, as Lars had mentioned, on pargo.co.za. Lars Veul, co-founder and chief executive officer at Pargo. Appreciate you joining us this evening. Thank you so much, Lars. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.